Okay, so what I have here is a thermal switch attached to a hot plate, and the switch goes to the input side of the Click PLC, and a relay attached to the hot plate AC power output, and the relay is attached to the Click PLC output. So when the switch turns on and stays on for a set amount of time, the relay switches the power to the stove off. Basically, what this means is the PLC says, okay, the oven has been, or the stove has been on for too long. The user probably forgot to turn their stove off, so it just uses this relay as a safety to shut the stove off, kills the power to the stove. Here's a relay of the system. The key thing to note here is that the relay is set up in its normally closed position, meaning that when the whole system is shut off, when the PLC is off, it's not giving any output. The relay allows the hot plate to have power, and when the Y1 output switches the relay on, it kills power to the PLC by making an open circuit at the relay output. Okay, here's what the Click PLC program looks like. The thermal switch is set to a normally closed contact on input X1. So the switch will open when it reaches its critical temperature, and that will cause this X1 input to turn on, which then turns this timer on. The thing to note about this timer is the set point value. So this set point is basically the parameter that you set for how long do you want your oven to be on or your stove to be on before it shuts off, before the relay turns it off for you. And the other thing to note here is that we have this reset button. So that isn't an actual physical button, but it's just a button that you press up in the data view function up here to switch the program off and on to reset it once you come back to the oven and see that you want to turn it back on. But basically, once T1 is triggered, once it will not be triggered again. It will not reset until you press this reset button. Okay, so why do we want to do that? Because when the switch cools back down, we don't want the oven to turn back on. We want it to stay off, right? Okay, so it's a one-time run. This runs once only, and after that, you have to reset it to get it to run again for safety reasons. So the timer gets triggered, the timer output gets triggered here, and then we have this relay on set to Y1, and that switches the relay into its normally open position, and it makes an open circuit, kills power to the hot plate, and that's all there is to it. All right, here it is in action. Right now the thermal switch is set to on. As soon as that switches value to off, that will trigger the timer to turn on. Once the set point reaches 10 seconds, it'll trigger the relay to switch to its normally open position, causing an open circuit and killing power to the stove. There, the thermal switch switched on. So 10 seconds, and we should see the stove turn off. There we go.